Hello, everybody. Welcome along to my Day 4 preview of the Cheltenham Festival 2022 here at SportsBet TV. Paul Alster here with you once again. And before I go any further, first of all, a very big thank you to the many, many thousands of you who are joining me online here at YouTube to hear what I have to say about the races. It's much appreciated, as are almost all of your comments. If you're new to the service, please press the subscribe button just below this screen, and then you won't miss any future bulletins, of course, with the regular weekend bulletins and, of course, all the big festivals coming up this spring as well. Well, this is all about Day 4, and it's being recorded before the start of racing on Day 3, just at lunchtime. So I can tell you that I'll be tipping in 4 races on Gold Cup Day on Friday the 18th. Couple of words about Day 2, which was generally a successful day for us. It was a good day. The ground was a disaster, of course. All my calculations were based on horses running on good to soft ground. Well, very controversial decision by the clerk of the course to put water on the track, even when there was rain forecast. And of course, Paul Nicholls had his say, and I agree with every word he said. Nicky Henderson was more circumspect, trying not to ruffle any feathers. But I think most people, including a lot of journalists, I saw Lee Mottershead's piece in the Racing Post, absolutely slammed the clerk of the course, because instead of having probably soft ground, we ended up in a bog. And those people that back Shishkin, they know where to address any grievances to. So I have to say that ahead of Day 2, I was not optimistic when I saw the weather. And I would probably have got out of some of my bets if I could, but I chose not to do, and I'm glad so. Because Campron, first of all, ran a marvellous race. I'm sure he would have gone very close to winning on better ground. He was always up there in the Coral Cup, and he stuck on really bravely despite hating the ground. And then, of course, just to make it a really cracking result for us, my other selection, Maze Runner, who was unidentifiable for the second half of the race with all the mud over the colours, came through to finish 5th for the each-way money at 4.0, 40 to 1. So we had Camprond at 10s and Maze Runner at 40 to 1, both plays, cracking each-way bets, those two. I was so relieved when Dan Skelton declared Nubin Negra a non-runner in the champion chase. He just would have hated that ground the same way that Shishkin did. So we'll wait for Aintree with him. And then later on in the day, I was not optimistic about Editor de Sheet, but he ran another blinder up there, which I think you have to be in the very testing ground for the most part, and keeping on really bravely to secure our place money. 14 to 1 with the recommended odds. He went off at almost half those odds. There'd been a lot of money for him late on Tuesday before the rains came. So essentially, Wednesday was a really good day. And when you add that to the 33 to 1 each way, third of Bell X1 on Day 1, and having reviewed your comments and looked back at the markets, I'm not going to be claiming the place each way on Iberique de Soy, even though there were 1 or 2 bookmakers here and there who kept adjusting their odds and offering 7 places. And I know some of you are on at 40 to 1 for the place, so well done you. But I'm not going to be claiming that one. That's going to go down as a loser on my stats. So that's the review of Day 2. We're recording this ahead of Day 3, so let's crack on and take you straight to the first selection on the final day, Friday, at Cheltenham. The 210 is the county hurdle, another, well, many would say almost impossible to figure handicap. 2 miles, 26 runners. The going is forecast soft. It may dry out a little bit. That won't bother my selection. Now, let's just look at some of the horses that are catching the attention. State Man for Willie Mullins, really impressive, but he was 1 to 7 favourite when he won a maiden hurdle on the 1st of February. First time in a handicap, big field, all the hurly-burly. I wouldn't want to get involved. Gordon Elliott's Top Bandit in cracking form this season, 4 from 5, first handicap. I don't think he'd want it too soft, though. Surprise Package, he proved just that, winning the Imperial Cup on Saturday down at Sandown Park for Peter Fahey, won by 9 lengths there. He's just got the £5 penalty. If he's none the worse for his exertions, he wouldn't be at all far away. While Nigel Twiston-Davies has I Like to Move It. He was only beaten a short head in the Betfair hurdle at Newbury, gone up £4, but he's a horse that I could certainly see running into the money. Now, Dan Skelton's got West Cork, who beat Adagio in the Greatwood Hurdle Grade 3 at Cheltenham in November. And he was fifth to Tritonic after that at Ascot. He's an interesting runner, and he may well be okay, especially if the ground continues to dry. And one at a big price that I did mention, I think, on the Thursday live session that we did last week is Boer Boy, who I didn't think would get in, but he's got into the race. Dennis Hogan trains and rides this horse, and I could see him going well at really quite big odds because his third to Whiskey Sour last time out at Leopardstown was a step very much in the right direction. And the other one that I very nearly decided to recommend to you here is Irascible for Henry de Bromhead, who was not at all knocked about, to say the very least, on his reappearance. But if you're with me on the SportsBet Live Thursday, you'll know how sweet I was on the chance of a horse called Colonel Mustard. He's trained by Lorna Fowler, an old broadcast colleague of mine who now trains out in Ireland and has a successful stud farm with her husband, Harry. And Conor Orr, very good young Irish jockey, still able to claim £3. Now, this horse has got some tremendous form in the book, and punters have started latching onto it over the last 48 hours, unfortunately. He was third to Sir Gerhard last time out. He won the Ballymore, of course, on Wednesday, really impressively. That was in a grade 1. And prior to that, he'd been second to Jean Bon at Ascot. And Jean Bon really franked the form as well with a massive run behind the quite brilliant Constitution Hill in the Supreme Novices Hurdle. So the form is there for all to see. And I think he's really fairly weighted on his handicap bout, this Colonel Mustard. And the £3 claim helps. He goes on soft, heavy ground. He goes to good to soft ground, won't bother him. And I think with a clear run around and some luck in running, he's got an absolutely rock-solid chance. Now, when I looked last night, he was down to 12 to 1. When I looked this morning, he was down to 10 to 1. And just before coming on, I see the 10s has gone and he's 8 to 1 best price now. Colonel Mustard is a real steamer in the Coral Cup. But Bet365 still going 8 to 1 for 7 places. So that'll have to do us for now. It might be that the books are reacting to maybe a big chunk of money and he may drift out again later on. But for now, at the time of this recording, on Thursday lunchtime, he's 8 to 1 each way. And Colonel Mustard, I'm hoping, proves to be real mustard and comes through to win that county hurdle. The 250 race at Cheltenham is the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle. My second selection goes on Friday, 3 miles in testing ground. So it really will be all about stamina. And the two that are clear of the rest in the betting are Ginto and Hillcrest, one for Ireland, one for England. Ginto is trained by Gordon Elliott, who's having a great meeting. And although I don't like the cross-country races, you had to have a heart of stone not to really be touched by that amazing race involving Delta Work and Tiger Roll in the cross-country chase on Wednesday. It was quite wonderful. And it would bring a tear to a glass eye, as they say. Well, Gordon's got Ginto here, who was a grade 1 winner last time out over 2.5 miles. He should stay, but he looks plenty short enough in the betting for me. While Hillcrest for Henry Daly, proper stayer this one. 3 miles he won over in the mud in a grade 2 at Haydock last time out. He's never been beaten when he stood up, and he's a horse that I think I will prefer to Ginto of the top 2 in the market. Now, Willie Mullins, always to be feared, of course. He's got Minella Kakuna, who won a grade 1 over 2 3/4 miles at Leopardstown in February. He beat Minella Crooner, real commentator's nightmare, that finish. He's an exciting prospect and he's on the upgrade. And Mullins also has the unbeaten The Nice Guy, who's 3 from 3, but at a lower level. But clearly they anticipate the horse improving. He's also got Ramillies, who won a 2.5 mile maiden hurdle at Punchestown when odds on. So those are some of the horses that a lot of people will be focusing on. But one I really do think has got a proper chance here is Staghorn. Staghorn's my choice for the flat trainer, Archie Watson, superb flat trainer. And Nick Schofield takes the mount. Now, this is a predominantly flat yard, of course, but they have had runners over jumps this season, 21 of them, and 6 of them have won. That's a strike rate of 29% over jumps. Very, very good. And Staghorn is an out-and-out thorough stayer on the flat. He's won a couple of times at Ponty over 2.25 miles, where that climb back up towards the home straight from the 6 furlong pole is like the north face of the Eiger. You really have to stay at Pontefract, the world's biggest round course, by the way, Pontefract, in case you didn't know. And of course, he ran some other very good races on the flat last season. 4th to Stradivarius in the Sagaro Stakes, and 4th over 2 miles, 5.5 furlongs in Britain's longest flat race, the Queen Alexandra Stakes at Royal Ascot, and that was on soft ground. So this horse, as they say, Simon Holt's famous line, stays longer than the mother-in-law. He really does keep going. He never leaves the scene. And I'm thinking that's going to stand him in good stead here. He's just had a couple of runs over hurdles. He won at Hereford on his first run. That was over 2.5 miles in December on good ground. And then he won a Grade 2 at Warwick last time out over 2 miles, 5 furlongs in January. Again, he galloped them into the ground. The extra yardage here, I think, is only going to help him. And although he does have a little bit to find on the bare form with the Grade 1 winners and such, I do think this is a horse with a touch of class, a proper, gnarled, serious racehorse. And the soft ground will really suit him. I'm hoping his jumping holds up. I don't see why not. And to me, he looks very, very good each way value. And at the time of this recording, is 14 to 1 each way for 5 places with the likes of Skybet, Coral, Betfred, and Ladbrokes. Remember, as always, shop around. And the bookies have this frustrating habit of late of changing the place terms, changing the odds, of course. So you've just got to be in the right place at the right time. So keep your wits about you when you're shopping around looking for value. But Staghorn, for the excellent Archie Watson and Nick Schofield, is my choice on day 4 of the Cheltenham Festival, Friday, the 250. And then we're going to move on to the blue ribbon of the Cheltenham Festival, the Gold Cup, the Boodles Gold Cup, 3.25 miles, due off at 3:30 on Friday, 11 runners, so the field has held up. Soft ground at the time of this recording, Thursday lunchtime. It may dry out a little, maybe good to soft in places. That will give them all a fairer chance, I think. A race steeped in history, so many great moments. I don't remember Arkle. Well, I've seen him, but I wasn't there, of course. Greatest horse, of course, winning the race. We've got so many brilliant memories of the Gold Cup. For me, Dawn Run, winning in 1986, Desi in 1989. I forgot to mention on my live feed, of course, the triple Gold Cup winner, Best Mate, and then Denman and Cato Star, and Coneygree. That novice chase victory for me was just breathtaking. And of course, we've also got Album Photo, who's won it twice and is going to try for a 3rd victory this time around. It is a great race that stirs so many memories. I'm sure this one is going to be a race that's watched time and time again in years to come. Well, the defending champion, first of all, is Manella Indo, who was so game last year when he just edged out his stable companion, A Plus Tard. And these two are both running for the Henry de Bromhead stable. It all went wrong for Manella Indo in the King George. They put cheek pieces on him and he was up there vying for the lead, ran himself into the ground. You can forget that. He ran much better behind Conflated in the Irish Gold Cup last time out. And Cheltenham's his course. He's run so many great races here. He won't be at all far away. A Plus Tard, of course, that devastating win in November in the Betfair Chase at Haydock. He won by a wide margin. And then he beat Galvin in the Grade 1 Savills Chase in December. Another big chance. He's sure to go well. The price maybe not the best value. Galvin, he's going to take his chance. He might not want it too soft, though, but he does stay. Won over 3.75 miles the National Hunt Chase last year. One who will love the soft ground, of course, is Dan Skelton's Protectorat, who was so impressive when winning at Aintree, beating Native River, Pointless, in the Many Clouds Chase. So the soft ground will help him. It wouldn't surprise me to see money coming for him, with a lot of British punters wanting to see a British winner and supporting him. And I wouldn't put you off. I don't think that, even despite the positive vibes from Willie Mullins' yard, the Album Photo is up to winning back his crown. He won it twice. in really good fashion. He's very sparingly raced. As you know, he made his return at Wexford as usual on New Year's Day. And I'm sure he'll run a good race, but I just can't see him winning. I'll hold my hand up if he does. And of course, Nicky Henderson's been fairly bullish about Chantry House coming back and winning. Grade 1 winner over 2.5 miles at the festival and at Aintree last year. In good form, but I just can't see Chantry House doing it. Now, in the Thursday's SportsBet Live, I highlighted the chance of Tornado Flyer. And I do think that Tornado Flyer is the unsung horse in the race, which is remarkable to say. He won the King George VI Chase last time out. Willie Mullins trains. Danny Mullins is on board. He's a horse who loves the track. He goes really well at Cheltenham, actually. He was third to Allaho in the Ryanair Chase of last year. He would have been better for his Punchestown reappearance this season before going on to that great success at Kempton, where they went such a strong gallop, and you really had to stay there. And he came home so powerfully, going on to score. You'll remember Asterion Forlonge fell at the final fence, went only 3 lengths down, but Tornado Flyer had his measure that day. And I think the horse is unexposed at the trip. He's only had a couple of runs at this trip, and he could even be better for this extra 2 furlongs. And I'm looking forward to see him steaming home up the hill. The ground should be okay. And he's offered at 12 to 1 each way, many firms offering 12 to 1, and that's for 4 places, Tornado Flyer. But just as a saver in this race, I'm also going to suggest that, although I really wanted him to run in the Stayers Hurdle, a horse who has so much ability, but does have the habit of taking a liberty with a fence or two, is Asterion Forlonge. Beautiful grey, trained by Willie Mullins and the mount of Brian Cooper. I had hoped he would run in the Stayers Hurdle, as I say. He's had so many chances this season. He looked like he was going to win the John Durkan and came unstuck, unseating. He would have been placed in the King George, but again, he made a right howler at the last. One day, mark my words, one day Asterion Forlonge will put in a clear round and he'll win something big. Who knows, it might even be the Grand National. You do get quirky horses winning that. Last Suspect was one who tended to clout them. But Asterion Forlonge is 25 to 1 each way, 4 places offered by many firms. And I think that if Tornado Flyer doesn't show up for the party, who knows, Asterion Forlonge might just put in a clear round. And with that engine of his, he could prove a real surprise. So 2 from the Willie Mullins yard from me in the Gold Cup, Tornado Flyer and Asterion Forlonge. And then I'm going to take you on to the final race of the meeting. Now, of course, on the racecourse, we used to call this the Getting Out Stakes or the Getting Further In It Stakes. Now, please don't get further in it. If you've been having a rough Cheltenham, don't try and smash your way out of trouble. There's so many other great meetings to look forward to as we move ahead over the next few weeks and months. This is an almost impossible race. The 5:30, the Martin Pipe Conditional Jockeys Handicap Hurdle, 2.5 miles, 24 runners. Barnaviddaun has surely been targeted at this. Second in the race 12 months ago. He was given a very quiet run out when last of 6, but only beaten 10 lengths at Taunton last month. He'll be better for that. He's only £2 higher than last year. He's the one to beat. They've got him in as favourite most firms, 5 to 1-ish, something like that. But you may recall that not so very long ago, I tipped a horse called Herbiers, or if you're very French, Elbier. Oliver Greenall trains, and Theo Gillard will ride. Now, at the time he ran last time out down, I think it was at Kempton, he was coming from a stable that wasn't really firing on all cylinders, but he still ran a tremendous race. Now, this horse, first of all, won at Doncaster in November. That was his first run over 2.5 miles. He slammed Global Citizen there by 8 lengths. He was off those 90 days before he came there cruising between the last 2 flights. And I was already getting ready. I thought he was going to absolutely dot up under Paddy Brennan. But although he was only half a length down at the last, I just thought Paddy Brennan didn't ride the kind of finish I anticipated. I watched it time and again, couldn't really come to a conclusion. about it, whether you had another race in mind for the future or whether the horse possibly blew up after a 90-day absence and Brennan didn't want to murder him without winning. So we give him the benefit of the doubt. The yard has emerged from a quiet spell to have quite a few winners in the last few weeks. So I do think that with the run under his belt, he'll handle the ground okay, and I think he'll stay. And I do think Herbiers has a real proper chance. Now, it might be that on the day you're able to bet for 7 or 8 places, so go for it if you can, if you're going to go in with me on this one. But at the time of this recording, Herbiers is 40 to 1, 40 to 1 each way. That's the best offer I can see at the moment. It may well be beaten. There may be 50s, even 66s popping up, especially if the bookies have had a good day on Friday. You might get some ridiculous value. But that's 6 places with bet 365. So Herbiers is my final selection there on day 4 and is my final selection of the Cheltenham Festival. And let's hope that overall we manage to show a profit. We're ahead of the game after the first 2 days, and we hope to remain ahead of the game and maybe just sail ahead with a nice winner. But remember, it's all about enjoying your racing, enjoying the greatest show on turf, a wonderful National Hunt Festival, despite the ridiculous ground yesterday and some small fields that really bring into question the race planning, but also the trainers and owners who are turning down the chance to run for very, very big money when they're screaming half the time that there's no proper money to run for. So I think after this meeting, there'll be a lot of soul searching and a lot of questions asked. Forget the idea of a 5-day festival. That's a non-starter for me. When you have 4 runners in a grade 1 on the 3rd day, it's just, you can't even countenance it. But thanks to you all. Thanks for joining me. Let's hope we have some luck. There'll be no weekend bulletin this weekend, given the 4 we've had during the week at the festival. So I'll be back next weekend with my selections at SportsBet TV. Thanks all for your very kind comments. Remember to press the button if you haven't already done so. So for me, signing off from Cheltenham 2022, Paul Alster, wishing you the best. Bye-bye for now.